There's a bit of a drug problem in the West. It's pretty bad in Canada, but it's about to get a whole lot worse. So it started with weed. Then it went to oxy. Then this thing named fentanyl came around. Well, we got a new one for you. There's a drug that just started showing up in Canada that is significantly worse than fentanyl. Okay, a National Substance Use Research Organization is warning about a new type of opioid that is increasingly appearing in Canada's illegal drug supply. Look, here's a table full of drugs. I guess it's the stuff they confiscated, okay? An alert issued in March, the Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction warned there is a rising presence in the drug supply of potent synthetic opioids, referred to as nitazenes, that are several times more potent than fentanyl. Hey, Canada has a new drug problem. I mean, it's not like their old drug problem wasn't bad enough. So Canada's going through some rough times. These new nitazenes are going to be unbelievably detrimental to the Canadian population. Now, Canada has been very aggressive in legalizing weed and getting dispensaries all over the place. I wouldn't be surprised now I wouldn't be surprised if in the very near future you could buy THC infused donuts at Timmy's. I mean, it's going to be everywhere. And the Canadian government has basically endorsed it, saying, this is fine. You can have it. Do as much as you want. I guess there's age limits, and I guess there's consumption limits, and you have to buy it from a place. But listen, they, for all intents and purposes, endorsed it. And when you start doing, a lot of weed, and it doesn't give you the high that it used to, you want to move on to something a little stronger. Well, you're going to follow that ladder, probably right up to oxy, and then into benzos, and then into fentanyl, and then ta-da, nitazenes. So these were developed. Well, let me back up. Now, there's a rising presence in the drug supply of a potent synthetic opioids referred to as nitazenes that are several times more potent than fentanyl. Okay, fentanyl kills just an unbelievable number of people every day. Could be a first dose, could be the second dose, could be the 50th dose. But if you don't mix it right and you get a little more than you were expecting, you overdose. Now, this is a type of sedative. Your heart stops, your lungs stop, your diaphragm muscles just kind of relax and you don't breathe anymore. And you're dead. Okay? So this was developed about 60 years ago as potential pain relief, but it was never approved for clinical use. It's literally too strong. Okay, so Canada's Drug Analysis Service in 2021, the percentage was a 4-fold increase of nitazenes that were detected. Okay, they keep going. There's another bit of this article that I wanted to get to. One concern is we're only looking at the tip of the iceberg. Okay, like every other drug trade, if they catch a pound of drugs, that means in reality probably 20 pounds of drugs has come into the city and is being consumed. So they don't really know how much is there. They know what they caught, and they know that's only a percentage of what's out there. So the center issued a similar alert when fentanyl first appeared in Canada in 2013. Now, so that's only been, it's been less than 10 years, and everyone's heard about people that died from fentanyl. Fentanyl kills a bunch of people. Now, they do have preventative measures for fentanyl overdoses if you get to them quickly. Okay? We're going to talk about that in just a second. So, British Columbia declared a public health emergency due to significant rise in opioid deaths. And now, citing data, the majority of samples with nitazenes came from Ontario, 64%, followed by a quarter of the samples coming from Quebec. So these are obviously big cities, and they're being infiltrated by these incredibly strong opioids. Now, note that more than one nitazene can be identified in a single sample. So you're not getting these from a pharmacologist or a pharmacist. These are people mixing these up from a 60-year-old recipe. Could be from China, could be from Mexico. I don't know. They don't have barcodes on them, okay? But what happens is if you're getting one or two or them mixed together and you don't know the dosage and you don't know the strength and you don't know how much of it is in there or where it came from or anything, you can die. Just like that. Boom, you're dead. Okay. So these different types of nitazenes, they're showing up, they're mixing them together. It's unregulated. Because these are so much more potent, you're going to have a higher risk of poisoning. And with these types of drugs and the strong effects that they have on your nervous system, being a sedative, you'll die. Deaths of 4 people in Ontario have been directly attributed to nitazenes. Okay, that's interesting. But the part that I want to get to is the CCSA said overdoses involving nitazenes may be difficult to reverse and might require extra doses of a naloxone. Okay, naloxone is that stuff that EMTs and cops and people keep with them. If you're suffering an opioid overdose, you just spray it in their nose and they kind of bounce right back from this overdose. You have to get it to them quick and you have to do it the right way. But it doesn't work with this. It's too strong. So if you ever thought about taking up a nice opioid drug habit, don't. If you have a little weekend habit and you want to do it a little now and then, stop. Okay? If you have a serious problem and you're addicted to opioids, or you have a situation where you're putting yourself at risk that you might get one of these new drugs and not know about it, get some help. Call somebody, contact somebody, check yourself into rehab, do anything you can, because you get one of these by accident and you're done, and there's nothing they can do to fix you. I hope Canada gets a handle on this real quick, although I'm really worried about you guys. I think Trudeau is a little more concerned with his blackface, silly socks, and using the right pronouns. So y'all better take care of yourselves. Oh, one last thing. Yeah, do that subscribe thing and then go away.